Well, hello and welcome to Balance, Security, and Performance at Petabyte Scale for NAS file workloads. Today's awesome webinar is sponsored by Rubrik and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Jess Steinbach with Actual Tech Media, and I am absolutely thrilled to be your moderator for this discussion. These days, the amount of unstructured data stored within organizations is growing rapidly. Billions of files spread across multiple NAS environments can start to make us feel scattered and really stretched too thin. So if you're lying awake at night worrying about how to protect, how to manage, and how to recover your organization's data, you're probably not alone. And the great news is we have help. Today, we will be joined by two top experts and innovators from Rubrik who are here to explore NAS Cloud NAS Cloud Direct and how you can secure and manage your NAS data at petabyte scale. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty amped up to learn more. So I'm just going to zip through a few important points and get us on our way here with this presentation. Okay, first, I want to draw your attention to the questions section of your webinar console. Now, the absolute best part of a webinar like this is the chance to ask questions directly of an expert like we have with us here today. So make sure to get all your NAS questions into that questions tab. If we are unable to get to your question during the live Q&A, don't worry, the Rubrik team will be following up with you after the webinar. Now, a quick reminder that questions console is also a great place to say hi to all the other awesome folks in the audience today. So if you haven't already done so, give a little wave and hello in that section there. You can also use that questions tab to connect to the Actual Tech Media team. So if you have any technical issues during the session today, knock on wood, of course, and don't forget that a quick browser refresh is probably going to get rid of any of the usual tech gremlins. But if they're being particularly persistent today, just shoot us a message and the Actual Tech Media team will be there to help. Okay, skipping right along to that handout section right next to the questions tab in your console. You'll see some exciting content to go along with the webinar today. Be sure to explore, download for later. There's an awesome link to the Rubrik demo there, so definitely go and spend some time on that site. And hey, it's not just awesome creative content we're giving away today. We also have a $300 Amazon gift card as a prize drawing at the end of our webinar. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live webinar to qualify for the prize, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. And if you're saying to yourself, sounds great, Jess, but what are those prize terms and conditions? I get it. Just head on over to that handouts tab, scroll down to the bottom, and you can find the full T's and C's waiting for you there. Now, I know that we're not going to need any additional nudging to ask questions today, but we're big fans of curiosity here. So we are also going to be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card to the best question asked during the webinar. Now, keep in mind that we're reviewing all the questions asked after the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out live in the Q&A, there's still a chance to win. Make sure you get those questions in, and we will reach out and follow up with our lucky winner after the webinar. Okay, folks. Well, I know that you're all about as impatient to get started as I am, so I think we should probably dive in. I'm so excited to introduce Christina Avranova, Principal Product Marketing Manager at Rubrik, and Matt Altamar, GTM Tech Lead in NAS Cloud Direct at Rubrik. Christina and Matt have an awesome presentation, customer testimonials, a really engaging demo lined up for us. But before we jump in, Christina actually has a question to help get to know you all a little bit better. So I'm going to put that up on the screen right now. So what we're wondering here is, what are your biggest concerns with NAS file data? So are you worried about incomplete and inefficient backups? Are you worried about missed SLAs, ransomware vulnerabilities? Are you concerned about uncertain and lengthy recovery, high TCO, or an inability to leverage the cloud? So let us know. Now, these are multi-select. So if you have a few major concerns, ideally you're not all of them. That would be great. That's a lot of concern to be carrying. But select one or two or as many as apply. Let us know what is sort of biggest on your mind right now. I'm going to give everyone another minute to select here. Let's get those answers in, and then I'm going to show you what you all said. All right, last chance, run up and select. Good, I saw a few last ones coming in. Good work, you guys all had your coffee this morning. All right, so let's take a look at the results. So what I'm seeing here is we've got the vast majority of you out there are concerned with ransomware vulnerability, which makes sense. That's top of mind for a lot of us right now. The next kind of major tier, it looks like incomplete and inefficient backups, uncertain and lengthy recovery, and inability to leverage the cloud are all kind of in the same percentile there as the major concerns. So that's interesting. That's great to hear. That's going to help Matt and Christina know kind of how to gear their presentation today. And with that, I think I will hand the mic over to you, Christina.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We are excited to be here with you today and talk about the fast-growing unstructured data in your NAS environment. It tends to be the majority of your data estate by capacity, up to 80% of your total data, according to Gartner. And yes, we know it is challenging to protect it, as we saw from the responses of your survey. I now have a few more questions for you, but don't worry, I'm not going to make you vote again. Did you know that storage systems account for 40% of the most common IT components targeted in a ransomware attack? Are you surprised? Probably not, because after all, we do know that NAS systems host huge volumes of valuable data. Why wouldn't bad actors go after it? So, what is the business impact if you lose your NAS data? If you're a hospital and you lose your PACS imaging, what happens? If you're a research institution and suddenly your proprietary research data, years of work is lost, what do you do? What if you're in government and critical videos from police body cameras, from traffic violations, they're gone? What if you're in financial services and your mortgage applications, other critical financial documents are lost? How do you recover? What does this mean for your business? We are now witnessing unstructured data's perfect storm. We've talked about it. The volumes are huge, but they continue to grow. We are looking at a 30% year-on-year relentless data growth. We're now talking about petabytes of data that consists of billions of files. And this is in times of ever-increasing ransomware attacks, and the solutions that are available for you to protect that data are actually complex and inefficient. When we talk to our customers, a lot of them use legacy solutions, but there are challenges. What we hear most often, and it's probably something that you are also seeing, is that the backups are very slow and they take a lot of time. You can only do backups during the backup windows because otherwise you're going to impact your production environment. And because of the volumes of data and the length of backups, sometimes you just cannot complete the backups, so your backups are incomplete. Now, where you store those backups adds to the challenge because many legacy solutions do not support the cloud well. So what you end up doing is having more on-prem storage added or tape. But when it comes to recovery, either recovery from tape or finding the data to recover from, takes a long while and you end up missing your business SLAs. This is why we see many customers that they use snap and replicate. And what that means is you're basically taking a snap of your primary NAS and you're storing it on your secondary NAS. You're replicating to a secondary NAS. Now, that immediately results in more data copies. I mean, the problem to begin with is that you have a lot of data and now you just keep on multiplying it. Because you can only replicate between the same vendors, you end up being in a vendor lock-in. You continue to spend money with this vendor. You have no data visibility. And because primary and secondary NAS often shares credentials, you end up being more vulnerable to a ransomware attack. And those snapshots can actually be encrypted. So again, we are facing uncertain recovery and missed SLAs. To sum it all up, there is not an efficient way to protect the huge volumes of NAS data, which leaves you vulnerable to cyber attacks. Recovery is uncertain and you cannot deliver on your SLAs. and you don't have visibility and understanding of your NAS data, which leads you to continued storage span and management inefficiencies. Well, here at Rubrik, we have a better way, and I would like to introduce you to NAS Cloud Direct. This is a high-performance data protection at petabyte scale that allows you to balance the security and performance when protecting massive file data workloads. Before I talk about NAS Cloud Direct, let me just take a minute to talk about Rubrik Security Cloud. Rubrik is a cybersecurity company. We are the pioneer of zero trust data security. Companies around the world rely on Rubrik for business resilience against cyber attacks, malicious insiders, and operational disruptions. Rubrik Security Cloud, powered by machine intelligence, enables our customers to secure data across their entire enterprise, cloud, and SaaS applications, making their business unstoppable. The capabilities of our data resilience pillar allow you to secure your data from insider threats or ransomware with air-gap, immutable, access-controlled backup. With data observability, you continuously monitor and remediate data risks, including ransomware, sensitive data exposure, and indicators of compromise. And the data recovery pillar provides you with surgical and rapid recovery of your applications, file, or users while avoiding malware reinfection. And now let's go back to NAS Cloud Direct. So NAS Cloud Direct will support any NAS system. It does not matter what NAS you have or how many different NAS vendors you have. This is a software-only solution that is deployed with a stateless VM where your data lives and is delivered as a service. It is connected to Rubrik Security Cloud, and through the control plane, we update and patch the software, so there is nothing for you to manage. And from there, you can efficiently write your backups to any NFS or S3 compatible target, either on premises or to any cloud provider. In fact, you can go directly straight to any archive tier. This solution is 10x faster than NDMP backups. It provides logical air gap and credential isolation to thwart ransomware, along with a granular file level recovery, so you can finally meet those SLAs. And because of the simple management and the storage freedom it gives you, it also allows you to reduce your total cost of ownership. How are we doing this? Well, let's take a deeper dive. Let's start with the efficient protection. And frankly, this is the question we get the most. How do you achieve this efficiency with such performance? Well, this is possible because we have a purpose-built client in which the scan, index, and move engines work in parallel to move the data as fast as physically possible. We start by scanning any NAS system with multi-threaded parallel operations. The intelligent indexes of all your data, along with the latency-aware file movement with dynamic resource throttling, allow you to achieve the peak performance. And this way, NAS Cloud Direct does not impact your production environment, so you can say goodbye to those backup windows. And then the backups are immutable and incremental forever, and they're connected directly to shares and exports, so there is no mount needed. And the files are grouped with a single put request, and they go straight to archive tier or on-prem data store. So again, it's not one single thing that gives that performance. It's the combination of all the features together that allow us to achieve this 10x performance. When it's time to recover, NAS Cloud Direct allows you to find exactly what you need down to the file level. And recovery can be anywhere, on premises or in the cloud, to the original source if it's available and capable, or to an alternate target. And now let's talk about finally having the ability to have visibility and in your data, into your NAS data, so you can act on it. You can now discover all your data by scanning your NAS devices. You can locate data quickly anywhere in the enterprise, on-site and in the cloud. You can filter it to curate data for insights, easy retrieval, growing data sets, or to directly archive. Again, this is possible with the data discover capability. And basically now you can make data-driven decisions, and you can achieve that storage freedom, and you can reduce to DCO because you can decide what to do with that data. NAS Cloud Direct capabilities have been validated by numerous customers across different industries. For example, at Acuna Capital, we were able to scan data at the rate of 400,000 files per second with integration to Pure FlashBlade. And we secured transactional data to AWS FINRA compliant storage. At Biogen, we improved the SLA for the backup on Isilon and NetApp for 3 petabytes, more than actually 3 petabytes across 3 global data centers. And the file data was moved to AWS Deep Archive, and Biogen saw about 3.5 million in savings over 3 years. I can share more such little short case studies, but I actually would like you to hear from 2 of our customers who recently spoke at Rubrik Forward, our global industry event. It was held last month in May. And you will now hear a short testimonial from Ulu Brown from MIT and Mike Pawlowski from Thomas Jefferson University and Jefferson Health. Enjoy the short video.
Let's switch tracks back to NAS Cloud Direct. Can you share with me what drew you to the product? Let's start with your thoughts, Olu.
So NAS Cloud Direct has allowed us to cover a few of our problem areas. One, we talked about scaling up as needed because the data is only growing and growing and growing. The other is the ability to kind of be flexible with changing application and data architectures as we move forward into kind of a modern platform area. So MIT is currently using a lot more cloud platforms as well as software as a service applications in order to manage all of this data. And we need a platform that allows us to do speed of recovery and continue with that business continuity that we need. And NAS Cloud Direct provides us with that, right? It gives us multi-layered storage approach, right? So we can actually keep, speedy storage for recently archived data. And then as data ages out, we can move it to a deeper, less costly storage, platform as well. We are currently leveraging AWS, GCP, and Microsoft Azure, and being able to be flexible and use those different cloud providers as a storage target is one of, the goals that I had in order to be, again, to attain that flexibility that we wanted with Rubrik.
Thanks, Olu. Michael, what about your path to NAS Cloud Direct?
So Tony, I'm always thinking about innovative ways to approach data management. How's the industry changing? Who are the disruptors? What are the hot products and what works? We've already had Rubrik in our environment, so I wanted to ask them as to what product they have that they could potentially help us out. They said they were recently acquiring a new product, for data protection. I said, hey, very interested in it, but first I got to see that it works. So you can ask my Rubrik rep. I always got to see that it, the product does what you guys say it does. So with Cloud Direct, we were trying to back up our regular file servers with the Rubrik bricks, and those file servers are just getting too large to back up with traditional bricks. So, we started to put them on the NAS storage, and, we were able to back that data up very quickly, and having it, go out to 2 different locations with the NAS Cloud Direct. So we have a short-term on-premise storage area, and we're also backing it up to the cloud. So we're covering both areas. which is very helpful for us. Also, we're using the data discovery capability within the NAS Cloud Direct to see how is our data changing. How fast is it changing? Where is the changes? And then also, if we need to do any recoveries, as Olu was mentioning, we can go and use that tool to go and do searches across, the backed up data to find out where is that data. So it's really helping us out quite a bit.
Well, I think at this point, seeing is believing. So I would love to pass it on to Matt. He can show you demo of the product so you can see NAS Cloud Direct in action. Matt, take it away.
All right, Matt, I think we're ready and excited for a demo here.
Yeah, let's roll.
Awesome.
Can you guys see the screen I'm sharing here?
Yeah, we're with you.
All right, awesome. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you all spending the time. Big audience here. One of the questions. So I've been with Rubrik since day one of V1 of Rubrik. The reason I switched over to the product we acquired is based on the merits of the product. I mean, it literally can do things that nothing else I've seen on the market can do. So it's really, really impressive in the way that they re-architected how to do NAS-based backups. So that's kind of what I want to walk you through right now. And I'll explain to you, how it kind of works in a little more technical fashion and walk you through the interface. And, it's very akin to the core Rubrik platform, which, this was an acquisition, but the UI and the platform itself is built very much like Rubrik was built originally. So it's built to be very easy to use. It's built to be very cost effective, so you're not spending as much money as a legacy platform, and there's a couple reasons for that. Very security focused, which was, I think, one of the biggest things on the poll. This is definitely built as a security-based platform, and then just general efficiencies. So I'll walk you through the actual UI here, and then if you have any questions along the way, just throw them in the Q&A chat. But this is the main dashboard when you log into the platform. So this is specifically for file data, NAS data. This is not block data. We do block data as Rubrik, but this piece of our platform is built for NAS-based backups. So if you had multiple locations, you would see them up here. This is just the main dashboard. And then you get kind of an overview of data growth and compression rates and just the general things that you would want to see at a high level. Really, all you have to do with us, you go to systems here on the left, and you would just add whatever device you want to back up into our system. So we're built to be agnostic, which is a big differentiator. You don't have to worry about vendor lock-in or anything like that. On the source side, we'll back up anything that speaks NFS or SMB. And then on the back end, we'll back up to anything NFS or S3. So, and we support all the major cloud vendors. And we also support writing directly to the lower tiers of storage. So if you want to use us to write to, let's say, a Glacier Deep archive or an Azure archive, you don't have to write it to a hot tier and stage it first, which is going to cost more money. We can write directly to those lower tiers, and that's going to inevitably drive down your total cost for your backup solution. Here you can just see our demo lab. A bunch of stuff is already set up. But if you were a net new environment, you would just go to add system. You would pick whatever device you wanted to back up, whether it's Isilon, generic, NetApp, doesn't matter. And then you just give us, the location, IP address, and credentials, and we're off to the races. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go out to that device and we're going to discover whatever volumes or shares are on that particular device. So if you have a, software share, user share, whatever, we're going to auto discover all of that. These little circle icons, this is because this is a lab and we're already backing this stuff up. But you can get kind of a high level overview of how things are being backed up, what the retention is, all that fun stuff. Something that's not being backed up will not have that icon. And if you want to back it up, you just click on it and you pick a policy that you want to use to back that data up. So it's, akin to core Rubrik CDM, it's built to be very, very easy to use so that you don't have to have a PhD in how to manage this particular solution. You can basically get anybody off the street, they figure it out. So that's the idea, and that's what we're trying to drive. And in addition to what I mentioned before, lower cost, higher security, all that good stuff too. So that's basically how you would protect a share or a volume. And then once you have something protected, you can do other activities as, along the lines of, I want to kick off, like, let's say I picked a share in here and I want to do an on-demand backup. So, something happened, I need to do a backup, or we're going to do a change in the environment, I need to do a backup. I can run the policy right now. And because what we do or what we drive is incremental forever, even though this particular share has over 10 million files, it's not a big deal because the change rate is so low. So I can just kick that off right now like I did, and then I'll see that operation going on under activities. We're a distributed system, so we're built to scale wide. So if, one VM for us can do about 4 to 5 petabytes and billions of files. And if your environment's larger than that, then we can just scale it by adding more VMs to your environment. So we're very flexible in every regard. Whatever we're backing up, we're agnostic. Whatever we're writing to, we're agnostic. If you wanted to change your platform on either end, we can accommodate that. It's irrelevant to us. We're basically a data mover. There's a virtual machine that we deploy that we want to sit close to the NAS device we're backing up, and that's so that we can be the most efficient we can possibly be. So we're getting things done to meet your business SLAs. But yeah, we're really built to be as flexible as you want to be, and then meet whatever SLAs that you require, provided you have the infrastructure to support it. I mean, at some point it does come down to a level of physics, and that you have to have, enough bandwidth, enough spindle speed, enough flash or whatever to meet those requirements. But we can meet, we're never going to be the bottleneck. We can meet whatever requirements you guys can support with your infrastructure. So, I mean, I just did, 10 million files. It took 1 minute and 2 seconds just now. So, and wrote it to the cloud as well. I mean, we didn't write any data because I didn't change anything, but you get the idea. It's normally tough to scan that many files in that amount of time. And that's really what this technology was built for. It was built purposely for unwieldy data sets. If it's billions of files or whatever, it was built to handle those unwieldy workloads, and it does it better than anything else that's out there today. So the other thing, incremental forever. So you can see I didn't process any data. So if you look at your back end when it comes to maybe what you're doing today or what other technologies do, or even our other NAS Direct Archive technology does, you could see potentially 5x the amount of capacity stored on the back end versus us, or versus NAS Cloud Direct. We don't have those types of metrics on this side. It's almost 1-to-1 because it is a true incremental forever. We don't have to do periodic fulls ever. And what that does is that drives down your costs on the back end storage. That's not a cost on us. That's something you're paying for to store it. But the total cost of the overall backup solution goes down as a result, because we're not storing multiple X's of data on the back end. Like I was just doing an exercise today. We were looking at tape, and the tape costs were 10x, not 10x for the cost, but like 10x for the capacity, just based on the way tape works. So it's just a much more efficient solution. And then on the front end, the way it was built is way more efficient as well. So you get the incremental forever. So you don't ever tax your network, your primary storage, everything that goes into doing a periodic full. You're also not storing X amount of data on the back end. But we also did a lot of cool stuff on the front end, which is very proprietary. And, there's an article here I can share out in the chat. But basically what we're doing is a number of different things that all, I don't know if you can all see that in the chat, that all kind of combine together so that, if you do all these things together, it's just so much more efficient. So we're not actually mounting volumes like legacy solutions do. We're using low-level RPC calls for SMB and NFS to do backups like how do I describe it? In tandem. So we're scanning and fetching data at the same time. So we're not just like mounting a volume, waiting for a scan to finish, and then starting to do data loads after that. We're doing everything together, and we're doing it without mounting the volume and without the bloat of those protocols. We're only using the parts of those protocols that we need to actually move the data. So, it's a very differentiated technology in that regard. And it was built by the guys that wrote the Isilon and NetApp file systems. So like they kind of maybe knew what they were doing. So yeah, it's very differentiated. There's not a whole lot else on the market that can compete with it. There's really nothing, to be honest with you. And it does things at a speed. And I wouldn't just say this just to say it, but like this is customer feedback. It does things way faster than anything else in the market does. Policies are basically, it's a policy-driven system, just like the core Rubrik solution. You just create a policy and then apply it to whatever you want to back up. So you create a policy. We have two different flavors, backup and archive. They're basically the same. Archive, destination, how long you want to keep it for. The backup one is on a cadence, right? So you're going to back up daily, weekly, monthly, what have you. And then again, where do you want to keep it? We support everything, like I said. So you can keep it to a block bucket if you want, a vault lock bucket, and then keep that forever. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to keep 5 days stored on something a little more expensive. And then you want to create another layer so that you're keeping a weekly or a monthly on something that's more inexpensive. And I'm not picking on these vendors here. I'm just picking stuff. But, maybe I want to keep that for 7 years on something that's less expensive because I don't expect them to have to recover it. And maybe the recovery time is going to be longer. I mean, Glacier Deep Archive takes their SLA, I think, is like 12 hours before the first block of data comes back. So, you have to just keep that in mind. But again, this solution is very flexible in that we can do whatever you want us to do. We just have to work with you to architect the solution appropriately. So that's how policies are created. And then again, as I showed you, when you go into your systems, your NAS filers, you just marry those two up. So you create your policies and then you pick what policy you want to apply to what volume and just hit apply. That's all you have to do. Super, super simple. I don't know how we're doing on time, but I do want to cover the discovery piece. Actually, we should probably look at the recovery piece first. So there's a number of ways you can get to the data that you want to recover. Activities, data search. I mean, if you want to search for data, you can go, look for extensions, star key, .txt. Here's all my text files. And then you can layer onto that. So maybe I want the file name 1.txt or something like that. So here's all the files that have both. So really, really easy to search for data. Most people actually do recover data from the top level. So they end up drilling down from the filer, the share, and then, what's in that share that I want to restore. So I click on restore for a particular share or volume. And then here you can see all the files and folders, but you can also see on the left here, you have the ability to go to any point in time. So let's say you recovered June 28th and it wasn't the right data. Your end user says, I need something else because it was still hacked at that point or whatever. You can go to June 26th and recover from there. And then you just hit restore. You can restore wherever you want, in place, out of place, doesn't matter to us. Maybe I want to go to a different filer or a different NAS device. I can go recover this data anywhere I want. So just do test 1, 2, 3, start restore, and then I'll see that under the activities pane now that I've kicked it off. So files, folders, all the same, and it all shows up under activities. And this, I don't think there's a lot of data, so you'll see it go pretty quick. So again, built to be extraordinarily easy to use, which is usually attractive. Help you drive down your costs, which is usually pretty attractive as well. And then there's kind of a bonus feature I do want to touch on, unless there's any questions I need to address at this point. But we have this data discover tool, which doesn't matter if you're backing the data up or not. This gives you insight into your data without even backing it up. So when you add your storage array or your NAS filer in, we actually go and discover everything we have access to. We do it very lightweight. We're very cognizant of not breaking your environment, not impacting your end users. Same thing when we do backups. So this could take a little bit to run, but this is a very useful tool for a couple different reasons, in that we can identify data that's over a certain period of time old. So you can go and change these parameters to whatever is old for your organization. Maybe it's just a year, but you can see anything. Usually it's last accessed. You can see most of the data on this filer hasn't been accessed in over a year. So now you have the ability to go run reports like CSVs, create a live view to share with management, share something with somebody, and say, hey, the legal department hasn't touched their share in over a year. It's consuming a whole bunch of expensive front-end storage. We want to clean that up. And then you can go right from here and actually archive the data from our tool. So you can just, like they said with that archive policy, you can just go archive that to whatever, Glacier Deep Archive, Azure Archive, something super cheap on-prem, doesn't matter. But we will manage the data, keep it for the lifespan, and then delete it after that. If you want to archive it for a year, we'll delete it after a year. And you can drill down as far as you want in here. Most people stay more at the top level from a practical perspective, just because you kind of get in the weeds if you keep going down and down through your directories. But it gives you the ability to have some insight into what data is not being used at a high level so that you can clean it up. And then you also have the ability to see, hey, what is being used? All right, I just got hit with a ransomware attack. Where's my active data? And then I can go through this tool and say, all right, so this volume is pretty actively used. This is what I want to recover first, versus, something like this that's way bigger and not being used. So it has kind of like that dual fold capability where, you can help free up some space, but you can also, in the event something happens, identify what's important to your organization to get, things back up and running. So again, this isn't really our core backup and recovery, but it's kind of like a bonus feature that you can utilize to give you some data insights. And this is not based on backups. This is totally separate, and it's going to scan whatever you give us the ability to scan. And I think that's all I got for you guys.
Oh, Matt, that was awesome. What a great demo. Thank you so much to both Christina for the presentation, to Matt for an incredible demo. It's so cool to have someone kind of the OG and original employee here to chat with us about something, because you really understand the evolution of the company and the solution. So I hope everyone out there is taking advantage of that and asking lots of questions while we've got Matt here with us today. I see some great questions coming in. Matt, Christina, you guys ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to say, Bradford, you're getting a gold star for Bradford. Got a lot of questions for us. So let's start with this one. Does the Rubrik solution provide warm data encryption, built-in fault tolerance, and data isolation?
Yeah, so it is an immutable platform. We're basically just a data mover and a data management platform, and we're built as a SaaS solution. So the cloud is where we host our control plane, and then we move data from your source to your target, at least today. We're going to come out with our own tenant where you could write data to if that's something that would be interesting to you. But we're just basically a data management, data mover solution. The virtual appliance that we deploy on-prem doesn't actually stage or store any data. It just moves it from A to B. So it's more of a conduit than a storage platform. So data security is somewhat on you if you want to encrypt, which most everyone does, your storage target, whatever that may be, as well as your source device. That's the customer owns those devices. So but we encrypt everything in flight. Everything's encrypted in our cloud from a, control plane perspective. But we also rely on the customers to, do their due diligence as well. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yep, and feel free, Bradford, if you have any follow-ups to respond in chat. On the note, you just mentioned a VM. So is the stateless VM a single point of failure? Is there any redundancy for it?
Yes, so you can deploy multiple. You could have one on another site. It's stateless. So again, it's a SaaS solution. So the VM is just a dumb data mover. If it blows up, you just deploy another one. It's like 67 meg. It doesn't take any time to deploy one. You could have another one stood up, ready to go. We've done tests with customers where we just deployed one at another site, and as long as it can talk to the cloud or wherever they're writing their data to, there's nothing to it.
Well, that's good. Matt, you mentioned, and actually Christina mentioned this as well, just the flexibility in terms of vendors that you can work with and the different types of platforms that would going to be that would work with the Rubrik solution. So Warren here is wondering, will Rubrik support Synology NAS?
I'm sorry, Synology? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. So we're protocol based. So if it speaks NFS or SMB, which is, I think, all Synology does, we can interact with it on the source or the destination. There's no issue there.
Perfect. Okay, so this one from Sanjay. He says, hi, and can we merge OneDrive and NAS and search the data in entire enterprise employees based globally? So I think if he's got a global base for his employees, are they all able to search the data?
I'm not sure I understand that question. OneDrive is not something that we cover from a Rubrik Cloud Direct perspective. We don't back that up today, at least, unless it's presented through NFS or SMB. We're not able to grab that data. So that may warrant further discussion, because we do also have an Office 365 solution that would cover that piece, but that's not where this particular technology in the Rubrik suite plays.
Yeah, and maybe Sanjay, if you have something that you want to clarify with that, feel free to respond in chat or send us a clarifying question. Does Rubrik prevent the storage of malware in our backups? And then he adds, okay, I'll say the word, ransomware.
So we do ransomware protection based on the fact that we are all right, this is a very good question, and I know this is top of mind for everybody, so I'm glad we're digging into this. ransomware is very much I'll just say a problem. But the way we handle that is a little different. So companies like to try and sell customers third arrays as a way to prevent ransomware attacks. And then they maybe turn up and down ports and things of that nature. That doesn't really fit the bill for real ransomware protection, because you're running on a third copy of the same platform. So I don't want to call out names here, but let's just say it's company XYZ. You have now 3 of their devices, and they all run on the same code base. And then let's say that code base gets hacked. Now your data's down. Or let's say your admin has access to all 3 of those devices, and now he gets disgruntled and it all goes down for whatever reason. So it's one of those things that you don't do on your primary side typically, where maybe you have 2 primary SANs replicating, running your compute layer. So they're replicating, and that's your compute. And then you have a backup copy replicated to another backup copy. Maybe you have an archive copy sent off somewhere else. So that's 5 copies of data that you have. On the NAS side of the house, a lot of people are finding themselves with, just one platform, one company that's protecting all of that data. And there's nothing to say that couldn't go down. So that's where I personally see a huge gap in the market, because that's a single point of failure. With us, we're a secondary copy on a different software platform, and as long as you separate the access from the primary NAS to the backup copy we're storing, that's your security, your data protection from a ransomware type of event. So I don't know if that's basically what it is. I mean, you want to have something that's secondary, that you're protecting on a different platform with a different code base, with different credentials. And that way, if something happens, it only happens on one side of the house versus the other.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I think you're right. That is top of mind for a lot of people. So I'm glad we got to dig in a bit. Does the Rubrik solution utilize agents? If so, are there any requirements in terms of large or small?
So for this solution, we don't have agents. We do for other pieces of our technology, but for NAS, no, there's no agents. We do low-level RPC calls, no agents required. Nothing has to be installed, up and running in under an hour. We do like a pre-call to get something up and running for maybe 30 minutes just to cover the requirements, and then to get it actually going, it takes less than an hour.
Perfect, nice and easy. How about administrator credentials? Does the Rubrik solution utilize them for discovery?
So we use, on the source side, admin or root credentials to create an account, which you will see on your storage platform. And you can see all the credentials that has. But yes, we do require admin credentials on the source. And then the VM just requires somebody with VM credentials to deploy. And then we write to, we don't need admin credentials to whatever we write to, but we do need the ability to write to it, which is still high level. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Are all transfers automatically encrypted?
Yes. It's an easy one. Yep.
Short and sweet, Warren. There you go. All right. The Rubrik solution requires an on-prem server for edge deployment of the VM. That's a question from Bradford.
No, it's not our edge system. So our edge system runs our CDM code base. This is more of like a proxy. Again, it's like 60, 68 meg, something like that. And it has nothing to do with core CDM. So it's not CDM, it's not edge, it's not a physical appliance. It's all virtual based.
Perfect. We did have a question wondering, if you're archiving, petabyte of data, wondering how that doesn't sacrifice performance.
So the incremental forever is really the biggest thing. if you are sending a petabyte of data off-site, I mean, it comes down to physics. We do WAN throttling and things of that nature. We group small files together, and big files we break up. So, we're optimizing the network traffic, if you will, the network chatter. So, we're doing a lot of things that or basically anything we can to optimize that. But at the end of the day, if you got to move that amount of data, you got to move that amount of data. We do compress it, but, it's kind of nominal.
All right. Well, I think, and we're getting close to the end of our time here, but this is a good one to maybe start to wrap up on. Paul's wondering, especially thinking about legacy vendors that an organization might have in place. So what makes Rubrik stand out? What makes them the best option for NAS workload backup?
Lowest cost, highest security, best efficiencies is what I would throw out there. I mean, it's a software-based solution. We can show you that it's going to cost less than anything else that we've seen in the market. And it's purpose-built. Like, this is the reason that we bought this technology. We already had a NAS backup technology. We bought this technology because it is that differentiated. It does things way more efficiently than anything else that's out there, at least right now. Yeah, I mean, we can help you drive down your costs. We can help you improve efficiencies, which, means if you have an outage, you're going to be able to recover in a shorter amount of time, and just make, the actual process of backing up easier. So you don't have to micromanage the environment and think, all right, I can't run this NAS backup at 10 o'clock because this one kicked off at 8 and runs through midnight. And, all of that goes away. It's policy driven. So it just makes things so much easier from a management perspective. You just set it and forget it.
Well, and I know ease of use is really important. Christina, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I was just going to say on this one, I mean, you get to complete your backups, right? Because with legacy solution, one of the biggest thing is that in those backup windows, the data volumes are so overwhelming, you don't have the opportunity to complete your backup. That's why so many of you said that they're inefficient. And we do hear that from a lot of our customers. So with NAS Cloud Direct, you actually get to do it all. You get to complete all those backups. You get to protect truly petabytes of data that consists of billions of files. So,
well, there you go, guys. You get to have it all.
Thank you, everybody, for the great questions. Those were really great questions that we saw coming. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really exciting for us when we see those questions coming. So a big high five to everyone out there who is participating today. Before you guys run away from us, Christina and Matt, I do want to ask you guys, if there's one thing besides have it all that you want everyone out there to walk away from knowing or thinking about, what would that be?
That's an interesting question to ask. I don't know, what is your biggest challenge, and why do you want to do something different? I mean, I guess what we run into a lot of times is, people are content with what they're doing today. So it's like I ask the question and they're like, no, it's working fine. And then I'm going, all right, then why are we having this conversation, right? If there's not a compelling reason to make any kind of change, and I guess the way I'll phrase this is, some people just don't know what good could be. It's doing its job. It's maybe, a little tedious or whatever. But they don't know what good could be. And that's what we would like to show our customers. So.
That's a great way to phrase that. Yeah. Christina?
And I guess, yeah, what I was going to say is, and I think I said it during the presentation, seeing is believing, right? I mean, yes, you've heard a lot, you saw. I would actually encourage anybody to just give it a try, right? Connect with us and, we can show you in real life, right? Because even as a testimonial that you heard from one of our customers, you really got to see it So you can believe that it truly does that. I mean, it truly does what we say it does. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
POCs are super easy. So they, like I said, 30-minute pre-call, less than an hour to deploy and be backing things up. So it's super easy. So, and yes, we want to prove to you that we're not just speaking here. We actually can deliver on it.
Well, the next thing I was going to ask you guys was how does somebody get started if they want to jump in? I just answered that, but anything else you want to add to that?
Just reach out to
obviously
us.
contact us, but actually looking that everybody kind of wants to. Yep, if anybody wants to look at the data sheet, I mean, I know Jess can send it after the webinar, but obviously if you go to rubrik.com and if you can explore our NAS page, you would see just about everything, the data sheet, the technical white paper, the dive into pretty much most of everything that Matt showed in the demo. We do have great customer case studies. If you go and see Rubrik Forward, you can actually hear the whole conversation with MIT and Thomas Jefferson Health. That's also on our website. So a lot of things you can find there. I'll also share with Jess so she can share with you. And yeah, seeing is believing.
I think that's really a good key takeaway. And there is a link, if you head to that handouts tab, there's a link right there to book a demo with Rubrik. So certainly, click on that, go explore. I was exploring the NAS page as well, in the last couple of days, and it's really informative. There's some great data sheets there. Definitely worth spending a little bit of time. And for everyone who filled out the poll, this is also a great way to let Rubrik know. I mean, you're speaking directly to them through this poll here. So let them know what you want to hear, what follow-up you'd like. And the Rubrik team will be in touch with you. I also want to point out that I posted the link that Matt gave us, and I pushed that out in the chat. So make sure that you check that out. And Matt and Christina, thank you so much. Honestly, just an incredible presentation, really engaging demo. This has been such a pleasure chatting with you both.
Yeah, appreciate the time, everyone. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, and with that, again, a huge thank you to everyone who took some time to fill out our poll and ask some really incredible questions. I do want to remind you, if you asked a question today and we didn't get to it in the live Q&A, we will send those on to the Rubrik team, so you will have a chance to hear back from them, and they will follow up with you with some answers. Also, don't forget about that best question asked prize. So we will be looking at the questions asked, and we'll make sure to alert the winner after the fact. And boy, I tell you, speaking of winners, we are already at that prize giveaway time. So today's winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is Ryan Kendall of Alaska. Ryan Kendall of Alaska. I hope it's a bright, sunshiny day way up there in Alaska, and now you have a little extra sunshine. A $300 Amazon gift card coming your way. We will be in touch about claiming your prize. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I really want to thank Rubrik for making this webinar possible. Just an absolutely giant thank you to both Christina and Matt for such a great presentation and demo, and for sharing some really exciting NAS innovations with us today. And hey, sending, as always, those big high fives and special thank yous to everyone here with us who attended and asked some live questions. These webinars are really wonderful to be a part of, and they're as good as they are because of all of you. They give us an opportunity to connect, to chat together, to explore these innovative new ideas together through those discussions. So I know I've learned a ton today. I hope you all have as well. I can't wait to see you all at a webinar again soon. And until then, have an absolutely beautiful rest of your day.